Welcome to your Mars and Taurus 2024 Transit Talk. This is the Peace Dealer, and I hope you gain the utmost value from this report. We are going to be looking into the transit of Mars. Mars transits deal specifically with activation. Given that Mars is the sexual outlet of desire, you can think of this assertive point and representation similar to the accelerator of a vehicle. Namely, the best way to figure out how someone expresses their Mars sign is to play Mario Kart with them. Given the cycle of other personal planets like Mercury, which will revolve around brain processing, and Venus, which is giving and receiving, the balance of your heart, and the Sun, conscious awareness, Mars transits are going to represent the action point before or after these planets that set into the assertion and direction, whatever it activates or pushes forward relative to its cycle. And seeing that it is going to be in Taurus, which is the individual fixed second zodiac sign, this sign is going to enable grounding and determination, which will add so much more tangibility to the force and strength of these actions. That being said, Mars in Taurus is going to apply the original and authentic direction that was invigorated while it transited through Aries, unlocked through the nodes, and activating its cycle with Chiron, which through Taurus will now be prepared to ground the potency of this force and direction naturally, and like mentioned earlier, manifest more groundedness, sureness, and tangibility in all the actions that you will be taking. Aries represents raw physical power, and Taurus is going to represent physical strength, strengthening the force with which you have begun to activate. This transit is going to express itself from the 10th of June to the 19th of July, and is going to mark a very naturally, unconventionally grounded period of taking, once again, this excitement and activation of a new direction and grounding it, adding strength to it, providing a foundation built on your own values to hit the ground running. As such, the relevant transits that we will be having during this transit consists of the initial square to Pluto in Aquarius, the sextile of Mercury and Venus in Cancer to Mars in Taurus, which will be followed up by a very significant and unconventional conjunction to Uranus. And we will conclude this transit with the sextile to Neptune in Pisces. As we, of course, kick off this transit, Mars will immediately, like Sun, Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury had done prior, make an opening 90-degree square to Pluto in Aquarius, which is at this point retrograding. Previously, Mars did make its conjunction to Pluto in the beginning of Aquarius. Pluto, which hasn't been in Aquarius since the 1700s, where we had revolutions sparking all over the world in order to rid the old world system at the time of the prevailing monarchies that had existed in favor for more democratic republics or just changes in the collective structure. Relative to now 2024, this has activated the definition of this collective action at a supernatural and advanced cosmic level, bringing to your understanding and awareness how the actions you take relative to everyone else in the collective define where you belong and influence who you are. In other words, you awaken supernatural power. And relative to that activation, now Mars squaring this is applying this development of action and assertiveness relative to your natural body's ability to harness this supernatural energy through your own natural energy and body. The intensity of this really challenges how much more extraordinarily and extremely you can ground the direction that Mars in Aries has effectively activated and unlocked with the North Node. This marks very incredible growth as the seeds you've sown with the conjunction of Mars and Aquarius, which was there with Venus, are now just beginning to break through the ground, harnessing themselves with much more noticeable and tangible, strengthened quality, and how much more energy you can harness, and the extent of the actions you can take with your own willpower. This will prepare for you to awaken so much more unconventionality and the natural power which, relative to its angle with Pluto, is currently integrating. This will lead, of course, into the opening sextile that Mercury and Cancer will make with this. As Cancer season with Venus and Mercury begin the integration process of deepening the nuance with which we hear vocal tonality and read deeper between the lines of what people say and feel more into the substance behind what is being said. This psychic / intuitive development of your brain relative to the emotional intelligence that will open up as a result will guide the definition of the natural actions that Mars and Taurus will not only make more smooth in the way you smoothly operate like a smooth operator, but will also provide much necessary depth and nuance into what direction in cardinal sign Cancer you're able to emotionally intelligently head in, providing information, psychic information, that influences the natural movement of your body. The anchor of this grounded Taurus outlet allows Mercury to dive deeper into your emotions as you tap that much more strengthened into your body. And we're going to see this as well with Venus. Everything that Mercury has begun to open up with this 60-degree angle, so that the nature of how you naturally take action to express this natural power is being extended in how much deeper you can integrate this into the core of your psyche will be polished through Venus, which also opens up exceptional romantic opportunities at the time, because the natural method of action that's being established with this Mars transit will be specially polished with Venus in tarot, representing the Two of Cups, opening up mutual love, trust, and respect with those who you can connect deeply and emotionally with. Once again, being anchored by Mars and Taurus to ground what potentially can be turbulent and irrational when we deal with emotions. This will once again open up opportunities for you to express your heart in alignment with your desire, which will be grounded, natural, and sensual. After these sextiles, once we reach the third decan of Mars, which is subruled by Saturn, aka Kronos, This following the opening sextile of Mars to Saturn retrograde in Pisces is anchoring this shifting of your beliefs and relative to your actions, aligned with the integrity of your beliefs, making tangible the grounded, smooth actions that bring more material reality to what was once abstract. And so this conjunction to Uranus sows the seeds necessary to begin a brand new cycle of innovation, making very unconventional the nature of the actions you will be taking moving forward. The last time Mars was here was 2 years ago in 2022. And by the time Mars comes back here, Uranus may already be in Gemini. So this is a very, very, very powerful milestone, especially in proximity to the sun that is lightly getting ready to sextile your awareness of this in Cancer, as this will really mark a new cycle of unconventionality and innovating the natural quality of these actions, getting ready to make obsolete what you may have done before, and awakening much more supernatural quality of the natural power that you will be able to harness with so much greater strength. And finally, that of course leads to the sextile of Neptune, which will be retrograding during this period while Pluto's getting ready to go back into Capricorn. Neptune, at this max degree, reevaluating the height of the development of our imagination, anchored with Mars and Taurus, influences relative to your imagination, the way you're able to take natural action, bringing beliefs into reality through the expression of your body language. And whether due to synchronicities or other metaphysical mechanics that might be beyond your physical senses, Mars will align intuitively with this, opening up how much more to activate abilities you will experience as this goes into Gemini moving forward. And that represents the natural power awakening arc. This Mars and Taurus transit will enable you to harness natural energy more tangibly, especially now that the Sun, Mercury, and Venus have already activated its respective cycles, bringing our conscious awareness, minds, and hearts around the value that Jupiter has quintessentially evolved. This will innovate our grounded action so we can do less and achieve more. And this will allow us to manifest so much more powerfully with the strength of conviction aligned with your values, standing on values that add to the strength of your character. And as Uranus activates this Mars transit, will awaken more of this natural power to open up over the next 2 years how much more unconventionally you can manifest everything you desire. Aries. Mars is going to be transiting your second house as the Aries rising and will be making a 30 to 60 degree angle to your sun and moon. This is a continuation of the activation cycle that originally began in your sign. As the North Node is unlocking so much more authenticity, the direction that Mars has taken relative to the authentic approach in the expression of your personality is immediately grounding the solid quality of value of said personality. And relative to your Sun, Mercury, and Venus transit that wrapped your awareness, mind, and heart around what you're worth, around how much more quality the value you have has raised, this is going to have you take action off of the expression of this worth, especially relative to Jupiter over the previous few months that has expanded the quality of your self-esteem and the enhancement of your confidence. Mars will give you so much more room to develop this fertile ground, as you will experience so much more confidence in your actions now that more than ever you own what you're worth. And the influence of Uranus and Taurus will activate more unconventionality in how you tangibly take action to manifest this worth. This is really exciting, especially relative to the previous few months, which has activated your awareness and the plan of what exactly you want to establish. And so Mars is going to have you take literal, grounded, and determined action to make more of this previous awareness tangible. As such, it's a very auspicious period to produce. For those of you who have services or products, really taking the action to manifest those and share those out there will immediately manifest immediate returns. And once again, with that influence of Uranus, the way with which you take action to make the most of your finances and to come into more value and money will enable you very innovative quality to take advantage of all the work that has been done prior to begin to activate this, especially while during in Gemini season you are already experiencing the mindset that is developing for you to make the most of this enhancement of your value. Taurus, Mars is going to be transiting your first house as a Taurus rising, and it will be making a 0 to 30 degree angle towards your sun and moon. Jupiter has done such an impactful job of evolving the quality of your vibration and natural energy, quite literally enhancing the natural senses with which you sense your immediate environment with. And with the Sun, Venus, and Mercury that have previously activated this cycle of natural discovery and self-expression, Mars is going to enable you to now take the necessary action to develop this expression of self. This may, in a way, have you express your personalities in unique ways that you never have before, which reflect very tangibly the recent evolution of the embodiment of value and the embodiment of yourself. It will quite literally feel like you've put new clothes on and you're taking action with this new wardrobe, which adds a lot more confidence and quality to this self-expression of yourself. And with the sexual nature of Mars will, of course, add more assertion and sexual quality to your appearance. The sensuality that this will be enabled to be applied, encourages you to be hands-on, especially when it comes to the authentic and natural expression of your desire, and how this will very strongly shape the expression of your character and the assertion of your personality. With, of course, Jupiter that has recently evolved this space, you're going to find that you have so much more room to work with, as extra dimensions of your personality have not only been unlocked, but very properly expanded. And the more fun you have with this, the better. So find inventive ways, especially with the influence of Uranus, to express yourself, as there will be so much more unconventional and out-the-box ways to express the genius that you have manifested as a part of your personality. Gemini, Mars will be transiting your 12th house of subconscious beliefs and unconscious habits. This will also be making a 330 to 360-degree angle towards your sun and moon. Given that this is the final point of completion, an aspect like this always promotes surrender, as the sun, Venus, and Mercury beforehand have made you grossly aware of unconscious habits you are ready to surrender and transcend. Jupiter's evolution of this place or angle in your natal chart has expanded the spiritual beliefs or reasoning around the pure nature of your lifestyle, with Scorpio in your 6th house. And now that you are ready to make obsolete unconscious beliefs that no longer serve you, and you have been made aware of how much you've evolved the richness of new subconscious beliefs that can take their place, Mars transit through here enables you to take action of this new ground that has been established. This will require surrender, however, as you have to be okay with taking action that goes against what you're used to and will reveal any element of self-sabotage the more you are unwilling to let go, quite literally, of old habits. This is also going to enable you to really gain insight on hidden abilities and understanding relative to the development of your behavior, which will allow you to get out of your own way in preparation for Mars to actually enter your zodiac sign and immediately shift the perspective of the assertion you move forward with. And given the extra room now that Jupiter has expanded this will also enable you to really take action in ways that simplify a lot of how you have done everything up into your life until now. Given Uranus's cycle that's activating, this will also surprise you when you uncover the unconventional means with which to surrender fully and come into deeper, more tangible understandings of who you are that get ready to change completely the way you act off of your thoughts about yourself. Cancer. Mars is going to be transiting your 11th house of friendship as a Cancer rising, and it will be making a 300 to 330-degree angle to your sun and moon. The sun, Mercury, and Venus have helped you be aware of this updated quality of the natural, tangible nature of who you belong with and where you belong. The values with which you stand on, updated towards this year, that attract all the abundance and value towards you in the form of friends who align with these natural values. If anything, it's also having you come into the awareness of the quality of the rewards of the actions you've taken in Aries in your 10th to solidify this new direction in your career. So Mars is going to really just have you act off on this and come into more tangible manifestation of these rewards. We can't really understate the expansion and of quality with Jupiter that will give you so much more room to operate around here. And as such, this promotes very strengthened activity to move forward with new friends made throughout the previous Taurus season. Especially if you are ready to make new friends or to move forward with existing and new friends made. Given the individual nature of Taurus, any proactivity or actions made with these people will add to your value and will enable you to direct the support that is readily and available, even if you are your own team. The quality of these actions in completing the harvest of this unlocking of success in your career is set to have you, in taking action in this place or angle, come in more tangibly to the rewards that you deserve. And with the influence of Uranus sparking this cycle here, it may really bring anything from unexpected windfalls of income throughout the rest of summer and fall, as well as make very unconventional the natural quality of how you move with people in your circle, and how people in your circle unconventionally take action with you or influence you to come into so much more money, value, worth, and self-esteem. Leo, Mars will be transiting your 10th house of career as a Leo rising, and it will be making a 270 to 300 degree angle to your sun and moon. This is set to be massively rewarding, given that the Sun, Venus, and Mercury have effectively wrapped your awareness, your heart, and your mind around all the success and the value of your legacy. You could think of it as appropriate planning relative to the next cycle going out through this year that will effectively not only activate the completion of this harvest you've done prior last year, but help you be more aware of the quality and value of the success you have built individually and naturally. Now that you have activated this cycle of completion in the previous months, Mars is going to have you take action off of these plans that align to your career, that relative to these actions put you naturally out there in a position to come into the success that you have quite literally planned for. Given that Jupiter has also evolved the quality of this aspect of your legacy and the career goals and opportunities that will be more tangible than ever, Mars going through here enables you to take action with this extra room and to take everything that previously you were aware you are planning to accomplish and to immediately take action after, through its transit in Aries, has directed you aligned with destiny to where you're meant to take this all. As such, this is a very auspicious period to put yourself out there, whether shamelessly in promotion or tactfully. You don't necessarily want to throw darts and see what sticks. Take what you've planned and see how every action you take not only adds quality to what you have already planned relative to your career direction, but already has you experience the rewards of these actions and enjoy the full worth and merit throughout the rest of the year of everything that not only you have succeeded in, but to develop the quality of your legacy. This will be even more pronounced as the cycle with Uranus will innovate how much more unconventionally these actions will bring you success. And sexually as well, putting yourself out there in this way will definitely increase your attraction towards those who align with your goals and do respect you. Virgo, Mars is transiting your 9th house of philosophy relative to your rising, and we'll be making a 240 to 270 degree angle to your sun and moon. This represents the third and final stage of harvest. The natural quality relative to your critical perspective that grounds tangibly the reality of the direction you will get ready to change your career in, with which Jupiter is currently expanding. This, of course, relative to the previous Sun, Venus, and Mercury transit that has given you awareness and wrapped your mind and heart around how much greater quality your philosophical approach is individually. You will now be ready to take action off of these realizations and this activation of harvest that has recently occurred. This is especially rewarding for those of you who are teaching or have recently finished or are engaging in higher education and learning, all right? Relative to courses you may be taking or just relative to opportunities for travel. Mars really does encourage you coming into and enriching so much more quality of the values that enable you to form assumptions and judgments relative to cultures outside of your own, and can open up opportunities for travel outside of the country. However, what you want to do to really step into this is to, even if just in your mind, really take the action to see what's out there. Given that Taurus is an individual vibration, the natural quality and value of this philosophical approach will take into account the beliefs in Pisces you began to harvest and ground out a lot of quality that will align with the critical perspectives you've activated in the fall of last year, or rather the end of summer of last year. This definitely will also inspire you to really ground the quality of your sexual expression in a way that has you lead and teach, even if indirectly, and most importantly, by example. The innovation of Uranus will really take out of the box themes you have leveled up post Jupiter, and relative to more room you have through this expanded philosophical approach, give you the onus to make tangible these actions and once again act off of these realizations and leveling up of everything you teach. Libra, Mars is going to be transiting your 8th house and will be making a 210 to 240 degree angle to your sun and moon. This will effectively take action towards the enforcement of your boundaries. And relative to everything Venus has polished relative to these investments, and Mercury has wrapped your mind around with your awareness of the sun, of what naturally to invest in, what boundaries to draw, who trusts your value and whose value you trust. Mars is going to be you once again enforcing these boundaries and taking actions off of these investments that you have recently activated relative to the Venus, Mercury, and Sun cycles we've recently started. Given Jupiter's recent expansion as well, this expands how much more room you have to deal with people naturally. And relative to the 2nd house transit in Scorpio that was had before, this element of harvest now in Taurus is preparing you to return on investments. And as this transforms, you will be cutting the weight and fat of any excess or lack of, focus needed to, cut your losses or to recoup even so much more. This is really great financially, given that the 8th house is other people's resources, finances, and money. But this is also important intimately as you will have a much more sensual assertion in the enforcement of these boundaries. So for those that you don't really trust, especially with your material possessions, you'll really be able to take more grounded, tangible action towards protecting your investments. It is also, once again, a really great period relative to the last previous month where you were aware of what investments to make, where you were really wrapping your brain around what is the wise way to deal with these people to effectively take that action. And for those of you who deepen your connection naturally with those who you trust, Mars will enable you so much more to sensually engage intimately with those people who have passed your boundary tests, platonically and or romantically. This, once again, if you want to think financially, really encourages you to take those risks and to take action off of investments that you know will secure more wealth for you in the future. And you can look forward to the conjunction with Uranus to innovate the quality of how much more unconventionally you do so and how much more unconventional results as such manifest. Scorpio, Mars is going to be transiting your seventh house of relationships as a Scorpio rising, and it'll be making a 180 to 210 degree angle to your sun and moon. Congratulations. This is having you harvest the cycle that you have activated and integrated since, of course, Mars and the other personal planets were in Scorpio. This is a very exciting period considering that the Sun, Mercury, and Venus have already harvested and begun to show you the effects of the wisdom you embody, and the natural value thus is harvested through other people. This, with the presence of Uranus, has innovated quintessentially the quality of your partnerships with other people. And now that you've been aware and have polished and have wrapped your mind around with Sun, Venus, and Mercury respectively relative to the quality of these partnerships and who you are moving forward with, well, Mars is quite literally having you move forward with them. The plan has been made, and this is going to really add a lot more grounding, consistency, and quality to what you already know and are aware you have planned to do. This is going to have you activate forward movement, but relative to these angles, it's a harvest, as it will go through, of course, Gemini and complete that harvest process after Cancer through Leo. Really great checkpoint. And given that this is a harvest relative to the beginning of integrating an Aquarius, it will have you really come into a lot of wealth and richness, as now that we have evolved with Jupiter, the quality of your partnerships, you will find that there's so much more expansive room, or there's so much more rich quality to do things or manifest greater quality through these actions with other people, showing and harvesting the work that you've done over the past 6 months. So given that Taurus is individual, the actions you individually take with other people, you will find market growth as you keep consistent and determined with these actions. This is notably so, especially with Uranus, that will activate more innovation and sow the seeds relative to how much more unconventionally you move relative to these partnerships. Very auspicious period, once again, platonically or romantically, to develop relationships. So you definitely want to stay true to the boundaries that Gemini season has made you aware of, and you will eventually take action to enforce. But you will definitely, relative to the energy you're putting out there, come into great attraction, expressing your sensual sexual nature towards others who you desire, and being in a position to be proactive and really assertively, hold space against open enemies opposite you who wish to see you as less than you are, but also come into more excitement with those who match your passion. Sagittarius, Mars in Taurus is going to transit your 6th house of behavior and lifestyle. And also will be making a 150 to 180 degree angle towards your sun and moon. This is the final point of integration since Mars has transited Pisces, effectively beginning to shift entirely the perspective of beliefs you will be acting on in order to support and integrate your vision, back when Mars transited Sagittarius. So now going through Taurus, this final point of integration is putting together everything that the Sun, Venus, and Mercury has helped you be aware and wrap your mind around, exactly how you're polishing your routine relative to this major evolution and innovation of quite literally leveling up your lifestyle, and how much more quality and richness the life you live is. Everything has effectively been set in place, kind of like you having a planner of what it is and how it is you strategically wish to live your life. And now with Mars, you are actually taking that action. This is a really great period to revisit everything you are putting together relative to this formation of a behavioral pattern and the natural quality of how this is going to enable so much more structure and value that you are in service to others and yourself, easily going to manifest tangibly. Especially with the influence of Uranus here, this is going to mark further innovation in how the actions you take in your routine make obsolete old patterns in favor for once again thinking outside the box, and enable you to accomplish so much more with doing less, thinking so much smarter, while also working as hard to gain the best of both worlds. So this is really a great period once again to take really determined and consistent action on any changes to your routine, exercise regimens, and given that the sixth house is a house of work, it is a really great period to see improvement in how it is you take action to do the work you do, or even create new work for those of you who want to come into employment or even hire employees. The action you take here will be very vital. And finding ways to take your sexual expression and integrate it relative to these new behavioral patterns will align a lot more of the sexual opportunities you can act on relative to how they influence your behavior, and how, of course, you are building a lifestyle that reflects this quality of richness. Capricorn, Mars is going to be transiting your fifth house relative to your rising and be making a 120 to 150 degree angle to your sun and moon. This continues along the theme of integration, since it has established the authentic direction through Aries, unlocked with the nodes of how much more comfortable you can feel in your own skin and authenticity. Now that we have adjusted the direction that has been created with more space to understand more of the authenticity you can operate with, this opens the space to naturally manifest not only more creativity, but to take action off of everything you have planned with Venus, Sun, and Mercury relative to what talents you wish to continue to develop and express. For example, let's say the past few weeks with the Sun of awareness and Venus and Mercury, you've come to the awareness and wrapped your mind around what exactly you see and desire rather to creatively express, especially with Jupiter over the past month and year, which has evolved the quality of your talents and connection to children. Mars is now going to have you take action off of everything that you have recently activated and planned. And relative to this is a really great period to work on creative projects, to really take action as is, and which inspires your heart and inner child. As such, especially as we're going to move into Cancer season of your partnerships, it is an auspicious period to express romantic interest and to naturally and smoothly take the action necessary to share your desire with those who share interests of your heart. In other words, it's a great time to shoot your shot. For those of you working on creative projects, the actions taken will necessarily integrate how much more talented and how much more quality your creativity has gained in order to come into a very tangible result and begin to already harvest the quality of your creativity. Look forward to that conjunction with Uranus to also innovate and find ways outside of the box to express this as well. Aquarius, Mars will be transiting your fourth house based on your rising and be making a 90 to 120 degree angle to your sun and or moon. The fourth house of home will begin the process of integration for you since Mars was in Aquarius, and post activation relative to the knowledge activated in your sign. This is going to ground this spaceship and extraordinary knowledge through your 5 physical natural senses, maybe 8 depending on if you include more. This post Mercury, Venus, and the Sun already activating their respective cycles enables you to take action off of what you have set relative to your space of comfort now that you have expanded and are ready to adjust or rather ground more quality of value in these spaces where you not only feel at home but come into a more natural understanding of who you share private concerns with. The actions you will be taking here will enable you to continue forth this integration process and make more tangible this innovative quality with Uranus, everything moving forward that will integrate outwards towards, of course, your 6th house or that 150 degree angle in Cancer. That being said, this is, of course, a great period to take whatever necessary action enables you to now take what you've activated relative to your knowledge, your beliefs, and your actions, and how much more tangibly you can now produce the quality of this knowledge. And with this assertion of Mars, being able to harness this natural energy, which will serve as a much more tangibly energetic base for you to not only ground your actions, but give you the proper footing moving forward. So this is just another reminder, especially with the conjunction of Uranus, your ruling planet, that you are innovating the way you really now have grounded your spaceship, the higher mind that you represent, the celestial advanced knowledge, and now move forward with more tangible concepts that make these abstract beliefs more into a reality. Pisces, Mars will be transiting your 3rd house based on your rising, and it will be making a 60 to 90 degree angle to your sun and or moon. This tangible manifestation of your personal actions will ground the value of your attitude and mindset and bring more solidity to the way in which you activate more sureness and innovation towards your body language and how your body language sets not only your mindset, but will also have you naturally ground abilities with which you can take action of relative to everything the Sun, Venus, and Mercury has done prior. Given that the third house or this angle represents the final stage of activation, and also relative to the third house being your immediate environment, this really encourages you to, as Taurus is an individual sign, take actions not just in your immediate environment, but to communicate through your actions relative to your body without even having to say words, but speaking naturally or expressing your mindset naturally through, once again, your body language. This is great to practice through mudras in order to anchor, whether through NLP or other methods, any mindsets that you have already activated through previous transits recently. And it's also a great period to express the nature of your attitude sexually. Given that Taurus is an earth sign, this will activate more natural sensualness. And this, as you act off of expressing this through your touch, will do a lot more to indirectly, if not directly, express this. The manifestation of this will also have you act off the tangibility of not only the quality of your abilities, but prepare to integrate this as this inevitably will enter Gemini. As we end this Mars in Taurus transit, it will enter Gemini, taking the natural quality of the actions we have begun to innovate and prepare to shift the perspective in enlightening what exactly we do with this determination and assertion. Whereas Mars in Aries unlocked the direction and originality with renewed vigor that you will move in, and Mars in Taurus has grounded the natural quality to strengthen the direction of these actions, Mars in Gemini reasonably will now add perspective. And we have that Jupiter conjunction to look forward to. Make sure you stay tuned to that transit talk. Regardless, this transit is going to do a whole lot to make more real the quality of everything we have recently activated, so the determined and consistent quality you put into these actions will influence the production of value that you inevitably manifest. I hope you make the most of this, and until next time, peace.